Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to learn how to find the missing sides of right triangles. We've already talked about the Pythagorean theorem and that it is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we talked about that this represents the area of a square plus the area of another square equals the area of our larger. In our picture below, we have our labels for our legs of our triangle. Remember our sides A and B. It doesn't matter if we mix up sides A and B, and that's okay. Remember we talked about that C is always opposite the right angle, and it is called the hypotenuse. Remember that we also talked about that the hypotenuse is always the longest side out of the three sides. When we look at the Pythagorean theorem, the purpose of the Pythagorean theorem, number one, is we're using it for right triangles, and it can be used to find the missing sides of right triangles. The missing sides of right triangles. And so we have lots of things in life that involve right angles and right triangles. So that's what we use the Pythagorean theorem for. It's only for right triangles. It doesn't work with other types of triangles. Okay? So let's look at the examples here that we have right now. The first thing that I would encourage you to do is make sure you know what sides are missing. So sometimes, even though this is labeled A, sometimes they just label this X. And so we have to know what sides that we have. I would have probably called this side A, this side B, and obviously this is side C. And you can draw your arrow to help you identify that. And so now all we're going to do is fill in that formula that we just talked about. I'm going to go up here up above the picture and do it. So we know that side A is 5. This is just stands for meters. So I'm going to say 5 squared plus, okay, this would be side B or side X. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and put a B equals side C, which is 10 squared. And so now all we're going to do is go through and solve this equation. 5 squared is 25. 10 squared is 100. I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides because we're just doing inverse operation. And so I get 75. Get b squared equals 75. So basically we're saying right now that the area is equal to 75. But if I want to find the actual side length, we now need to take the square root. And so b is going to be about, because this comes out to a decimal, if I round to the tenths place, it would be about 8.7. And that is the length of our missing side. Okay? Let's look at the one below it. Again, they've told us that it's side C, but a lot of times they just tell us that it's X. So it is important to recognize that that is side C. The legs are A and B, and it's okay if you mix up sides A and B. The legs are always what make up the right angle. So we would say 8 squared plus 7 squared equals C squared. And so you can use your calculator to help you with this. 8 squared is 64. 7 squared is 49. Okay, so again, we wouldn't want to miss any calculations because we didn't pick up our calculator. So C squared equals 113. If I'm trying to find the missing side and not the area, now we need to take the square root. And so the square root of 113 is 10.6 if we round it to the tenths place. Okay, pretty easy, right? If you think you're getting the hang of it, then pause the video and try this spider one all by yourself, and then restart the video and see if you got it right. Okay, so again on this one we're looking for side C. This is A, This is B. Let's make sure we're labeling our sides, because sometimes it can be tricky and they can turn it on you. So we want to make sure we know what sides are what. 2 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. That would be the area if we were to draw our squares onto the sides, but we're not. We're trying to find the actual side length. So the last step is to take the square root of 13, which is about 3.6. Okay? Okay, so here's the last one. It says, how long is the tabletop? So we're trying to find the distance from here to here. So you can see how we have this right triangle within our rectangle. So we could have that. This would be called our diagonal, right? That is our hypotenuse, side C. This is side A. We're missing side B. So we would say 3 squared plus B squared equals 6 squared. Really important that we're filling in the formula, because you should be noticing that sometimes we're adding and sometimes we're subtracting. And so the way we can know whether to add or subtract is by making sure that we're filling in our formula. So if I want to solve for B, I have to move the 9. I have to cancel it out by subtracting, just like when we do solving equations. So this would be B squared equals 25. And so the last step would be to take the square root, and we get B equals 5. Okay?